What do you think started Filipino sense of fashion?
Philippines. Well, okay, so in the 1910s, the Philippines is still emerging out of the Spanish colonial
How would
era.
Filipinos and African Americans have similar ways of fashion around that time?
American and European ethnologists were really invested in documenting indigenous women, especially their tattoos. It was very exoticized and pretty racialized, I
How
think.
do you feel that the Europeans had an impact on Filipinos' look?
So I think one thing you noticed with April's skin in the video from start to finish is that she has very dark skin in the beginning, and then immediately in the 30s, it becomes totally white. So that's a beauty standard that gets enforced all the way up until the present moment. Of course, the sort of colonial mentality about how European aesthetics are beautiful. And then finally, towards the very end, you see her kind of like laying off the skin whitening products and the powders and the bleaches and all of that. Because I think in this moment, people are beginning to accept that their skin tone can be beautiful without needing to be whiter.
What kinds of Filipino figures that people are familiar with?
Now, the kinds of Filipino figures that people are familiar with are like maids or nurses. And it's not to say that that work isn't important, but rather that there are so many different kinds of people in the Philippines, so many ethnic groups and languages and etc. There is extreme wealth and extreme poverty.
The Filipino culture has changed through the decades as they have been conquered by different countries, with countries like Spain and the United States making an influence. Prior to being colonized by the Spaniards and the Americans, the Filipino people had their own culture. The Spanish and Americans were amazed at the women's tattoos, and they were exoticized and racialized. During about the 1930s, when the Philippines was still colonized by the United States, the women began to put makeup on to make their skin appear white, as that was seen as a beauty standard. Through the years, the Filipinos would begin to leave that white skin tone behind. They didn't need to look like the Europeans to look beautiful. People are beginning to realize that their own skin color can be beautiful because that is what makes them who they are. They don't have to pursue other countries' beauty standards when they can start their own.
What motivates you and your design?
Person. Fashion is my life. Fashion for me is freedom to express myself, my ideas, and my feelings. It allows me to be creative. Driving on the streets of Africa is inspiring. There's so much energy, color, it's so vibrant. In my studio, I translate the colors and the energy from the streets into my
How
designs.
do you bring your designs to life?
Working with models is very important. That is when my designs come to life. I love to do fashion shows. It allows me to share my ideas and creations with many people.
How do you set yourself apart from other cultural fashion designs?
My favorite thing to do is shopping for fabrics in the local stores and markets. There's so many patterns, designs, colors to choose from. I feel like a child in a toy store. I always buy too much. I can't stop myself. My money is gone before I know it.
Are there any hardships that come with being an independent fashion designer?
As much as I love to design, being an independent fashion designer is not easy. I must also think of my finances and plan and think like a businesswoman. It's hard work. I'm done shopping. I can't wait to get to my studio and start creating clothes.
African American fashion is a great representation of the African culture and the community. Much of the inspiration, ideas, and feelings can be created by just roaming around the streets and grasping onto the visions, the colors, and the artifacts that can be created towards the designs. When Peace transforms her ideas and designs into working with the models, this expands the African designer's vision and helps the African fashion come to life and have a vision for others. You are able to fully make a great perfection of African American fashion and broaden its fashion style statement with fashion shows. African American fashion is unique and authentic. The material that is brought from African homelands and local African vendors. This keeps the culture transcending when the culture is presented and explored by others. When Peace showed images of her work, you can see many vivacious colors, shapes, all designed into several pieces, like long dresses, blouses, skirts, and pants. Just like African American fashion, many Filipino women wore dresses as well. They were known as the turno dresses. They were not as vibrant and vivid as the African dresses, but both fashion designs show lots of femininity. Peace also implemented another African American popular style known as the afros. Her models also rocked the afros all throughout the fashion designs.